The morning began with confusion and a pounding heart, the kind that makes a man question every choice that led him to this exact second. He woke to unfamiliar light spilling across the ceiling, soft and warm, and the scent of clean cotton mixed with something floral. For a breathless moment he thought he was still dreaming, that this was some fragile illusion his exhausted mind had stitched together. Then he shifted, felt the weight of a blanket that was not his, and realized he was not alone. A woman lay beside him, calm and unashamed in her sleep, wearing his shirt like it belonged to her. As he tried to piece together the night, she stirred, opened knowing eyes, and leaned close enough that he could feel her breath. The words she whispered were not loud, not crude, but they landed with a force that made his chest tighten. They were playful and disarming, and they cracked open something he had kept sealed for years. He was a single father, a man whose life had narrowed to the shape of responsibility. Every morning he woke before dawn to pack lunches, tie shoelaces, and rehearse patience like a prayer. His world revolved around a small apartment with peeling paint, a job that barely paid the bills, and a child whose smile could either save or destroy his entire day. Since his wife passed, life had become a careful routine built to avoid pain. He had buried desire along with grief, convincing himself that love was a luxury he could no longer afford. There was no room for mistakes, no space for softness. He told himself that being strong meant being alone. The neighbor had moved in quietly months ago. A mature woman with calm eyes and a kindness that did not demand attention. She lived next door, the kind of presence that softened the hallway without trying. They shared polite nods and small favors, the kind that grow naturally between people who see each other often but keep their distance. She watered his plants when he worked late. He carried her groceries when her knees bothered her. Nothing more, nothing risky. Yet beneath those small acts, something gentle and unspoken had been building. A recognition between two people who had lived long enough to know pain and still chose kindness. The night before had been heavy. He had lost his job after a small mistake that felt unforgivable in a world that offered no second chances. He came home with failure clinging to his coat, trying to hide it from his child, trying to pretend that everything would be fine. After bedtime, the walls closed in. The silence became unbearable. He stepped into the hallway just to breathe, and there she was, the neighbor, returning from an evening walk. She saw the weight on his face before he said a word. She did not pry or judge. She simply invited him in for tea. The way people used to invite each other before life became rushed and guarded. What followed was not reckless. It was human. Two tired souls sat across from each other, sharing stories that had been waiting years to be told. He spoke of his wife, of the night he became both mother and father in one breath. She spoke of a marriage that had ended slowly, not in anger but in quiet resignation. The hours passed unnoticed. Laughter found its way in, surprising them both. When the storm of his thoughts finally broke, he did not feel alone anymore. He felt seen. The morning after carried all of that history in its silence. He sat up slowly, guilt and confusion battling inside him. Fear followed close behind. What had he done? What did this mean? His first thought was his child, always his child. His second was shame, the old voice telling him that happiness was something he was no longer allowed to touch. He tried to stand, to retreat back into the familiar armor of isolation, but her calm presence stopped him. She did not cling. She did not demand. She simply existed, steady and accepting, as if to say that mistakes were not always mistakes, and that kindness did not expire with age or loss. As the day unfolded, he returned home with a mind in turmoil. His child laughed at breakfast, unaware of the war inside his father's chest. He moved through the motions, but something had shifted. The neighbor's kindness echoed in his thoughts, not as temptation, but as possibility. For the first time in years, he questioned the story he had been telling himself. Maybe strength was not about enduring alone. Maybe love did not erase responsibility, but could stand beside it. The weeks that followed tested him. Money ran low. Job applications went unanswered. Doubt crept back in, whispering that hope was foolish. Yet in the middle of that struggle, small mercies appeared. The neighbor watched his child one afternoon so he could attend an interview. She left soup at his door when she sensed a hard day. He returned the kindness, fixing a broken shelf, walking her home when the streets felt unsafe. There were no promises made, no dramatic declarations. Just two adults, choosing patience, choosing respect, choosing to heal without rushing. The real transformation came quietly. He began to speak to his child with more openness, sharing lessons about honesty and resilience, instead of hiding pain behind silence. He allowed himself to smile without guilt. He found work again, not glamorous, but honest. On the day he received his first paycheck, he stood in the hallway, holding the envelope like proof that life could restart. He knocked on her door, not to celebrate romance, but to say thank you for believing in him when he could not. In time, love grew, not wild or reckless, but deep and grounding. It was built on understanding rather than fantasy. His child accepted her naturally, sensing the safety she brought. The past did not vanish, but it softened. Grief became memory instead of weight. Fear loosened its grip. He learned that redemption is not a single moment, but a series of choices made with humility and courage. Years later, when he thought back to that morning, he no longer felt shame. He felt gratitude. Gratitude for the reminder that life does not end when tragedy strikes, that hearts can reopen, that kindness can lead us back to ourselves. He realized that waking up in an unexpected place had awakened something far more important inside him. The belief that he was still worthy of love, still capable of joy, still allowed to hope. And that is the quiet power of kindness. It does not shout. It does not force its way in. It waits patiently until someone is ready to receive it. If this story touched you, if it reminded you that even in your lowest moments a new chapter can begin, then carry that kindness forward. Share it, live it, and let it change you. Like this video, subscribe to Kindness Talks, and remember that your story is not over yet. Write an engaging and emotional story based on the title. Begin the story with a powerful hook that immediately captures attention and connects emotionally with the viewers. The introduction should draw them in so they want to keep listening till the very end. The story should feel cinematic, written in plain descriptive paragraphs, no headings or dialogue formatting, just smooth narration, perfect for a 40-minute YouTube video voiceover. Include relatable characters, emotional conflicts, and a strong character transformation or redemption arc. Build tension, sadness, inspiration, and satisfaction in sequence so the audience feels deeply connected. The tone should be motivational and emotional, encouraging viewers at the end to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Kindness Talks. Make sure the full story is around 2,500 words, flows naturally like a real spoken tale, and ends with a powerful, inspiring message that leaves a lasting impression.